All right, recently I wondered why JuJu Watkins wasn't getting the same kind of attention and draw as Caitlin Clark, and many of our Fumble family said it was because her game just was not as exciting. And while that may be true, there is somebody on JuJu's team who felt like the world was not knowing JuJu well enough, and now we have a 6-part documentary on the way via Peacock. Ironically, on the same day the news of JuJu's doc announcement, Ice Cube spoke at length about why he offered Caitlin Clark $10 million to play in the Big Three and not Angel Reese, saying that Caitlin puts butts in the seats and unlocks sponsorship dollars in ways that other people just cannot. Samaria, is there such a thing as making an athlete a superstar, or are fans solely responsible for anointing who they want?
Ooh. I mean, two things could be true, but even if you try to propel a person, if they're not likable or people don't like their game, then they just won't have fans. So I think I'm going to have to go with it's the fans and not somebody, an outside entity propelling a person. I do think that, because I think that even if you, like I said, if you had a player and they have all these sponsorships and they're on commercials and you see them everywhere and they're getting $10 million deals to play in the Big Three, if they're not likable or they don't have a fan base. But I don't know. This is kind of tough because it's like a chicken and an egg, because they need to be seen. And I think, like you mentioned, the JuJu Watkins documentary, that's going to be amazing for people to really get to know her, because she is kind of like a quiet athlete.
Yeah, so I think that documentaries are always tricky, right? Because they are so curated and you really get to control the narrative. I don't know what this documentary is going to be like. I don't know how good it's going to be, but I would imagine that JuJu's team is going to make sure that she is regarded in the aftermath as she has a clean image coming out of this documentary. In terms of like, can you make an athlete a superstar, or do the fans elect who is a superstar or not? Historically, the NBA and other major sports leagues have always taken the process of, they find somebody, right, and they put them at the forefront of the game. They make sure they're in certain spots and ads. They make sure they're in primetime game slots. But because of social media and because of the advancement of technology, people now have more access than they ever have. For many years in the NBA, all you really saw were the 3 or 4 guys that the NBA wanted you to see. And so because of that, we became, we were force-fed superstars. And I think now, even a guy like LaMelo Ball can be considered by some a bigger superstar than a player like Damian Lillard. Not because of his game necessarily, but because LaMelo Ball just has a rabid fan base who cares about him, not just on the court, but off it as well. And we live in a brand-centric society right now where people are so much more enthralled with the entire package as opposed to what goes on the court. And so because of that, I don't think these leagues are any longer in control of who is going to become a superstar or not.
And JuJu has all of the makings of a superstar. Like, she has the documentary, she has the sponsorships, she plays, for a storied program like USC. She has the famous, the stars, the celebrities coming out to see her. So it's just, I don't know. It's just
people. You know what? Also,
what?
She's too clean.
Ooh.
And people do not respond to clean and positive things the way they respond to negative things and demonstrative behavior. It's just a thing, right? Like, nobody wants the clean athlete anymore. People want to see flaws. They don't want to see action. And so JuJu, because she is so seemingly like reserved, and I'm sure behind closed doors in her immediate circle, like, she's probably a little bit more gregarious and personal. But the way in which she presents is very much how like Carmelo Anthony used to present himself in the NBA. And Carmelo Anthony's stardom had a ceiling on it. He could never match what LeBron James and Steph Curry ultimately evolved into, because he was so cool. And cool is actually corny these days. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the remake of 21 Jump Street, where like Channing Tatum goes to the high school, and back in the day, his cool was considered cool, but now his cool is like his ass. And I think for JuJu, man, she's gonna have to really, really open up and be light. You gotta be light energy in these times, because the world is so heavy on so many people. She's gonna have to be light in order to attract a wider fan base, because her game is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back to what we talked about last week. And I think that a lot of our viewers didn't like what I had to say about this story arc between Caitlyn and Angel. But that, I think that was another element of Caitlyn's personality in her game that people liked. It was like, she does come off very clean cut, but when she's on the floor, she's going to talk trash, right? Like, she's going to get in people's face a little bit. And I think that's, you know, like, even like I said, like, I thought that a very pivotal moment, and I didn't necessarily follow Caitlyn as far or as long as some of her fans did, but I think that pivotal moment in that national championship game really kind of, that was like, I don't know, defining moment, I felt like. And people may not think that, but I think that like that moment between her and Angel was like, okay.
You're 1,000% right, because we live in a storytelling society right now, and in any story you need a protagonist and an antagonist. And so yeah, it would bode JuJu really well to have an antagonist, somebody that she goes back and forth with. I would love to see her and Flau'jae actually get into a little bit of, I think that would be incredible for everyone to see. Just like in the NBA, I want to see Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards dislike each other. Not like in a real meaningful way, but when they're on the court. I think that those kinds of things create storylines that fans are enticed to want to see and to tap into. You don't want to miss it. But
do it right. Don't do it like Dylan Brooks, though.
No, you know what? I'm not mad. If you want to go to extreme like that, I'm with it. I just think you have to be a better basketball player than Dylan Brooks in order for it to matter. You just have to, you just got to be somebody that other people respect, whose game other people respect. You have to be somebody that your peers and fans regard you as cold. Like, I would love to see, like, I love the Kyrie Steph Curry thing. It's a thing. I don't know if you see it, but when Steph and Kyrie play against each other, it's a different level of energy for both of them. Yeah, so, you know, these are my thoughts. Those are my feelings and sentiments, but I want to hear what our Fumble family has to say about this. Are the days of sports leagues creating superstars a way of the past, and is it now just the sole responsibility of fans to elect who they want as the future superstars of any sports league? Y'all let us know your thoughts on the comment section below.